Yep.
All right, we are back in meeting. So we have everybody here?
So as a point of procedure, I would like to enter some of the documents that were
Shared? Okay.
into evidence
Okay.
as Exhibit 1, collective Exhibit 1. These look like letters from folks in the
Petition.
community, petitions.
Just as a,
Hold on just a second, Mr. James. I'm sorry, go ahead.
can I see them?
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, we thought you already had seen them. We apologize.
Well, you know what? Here's the other documents as well. One of them is the ordinance and the other are the pictures. Yeah, those will be made exhibits as well.
Collective or individual?
Individual. The ordinance is one exhibit and then the pictures as a, I guess, a collective exhibit.
Ordinance is Exhibit 2. Then 1 page of photographs, 3 on the front, 2 on the back is Exhibit.
I've got the statute. I've already done it.
All right, we ready? Mr. Seaton.
I'd like to make a motion that we push this to a future meeting and that I'd like to request from CPD and from the city attorney's office all open gov records regarding prior calls, regardless of whether or not there was a formal report issued, and allow us to get a little bit more kind of clarity on the scope of the number of calls that we're, seeing for this location compared to others in the area. And that we can, then revisit this, a couple meetings down the road after we've had time to digest those information.
I would suggest naming a meeting
Date.
Let's do the, well, it depends on how long it's gonna take to get that information. I would say, a 2-week period after we receive the information, whenever that is. I mean, ideally, we'd shoot for, obviously, we don't want either the neighbors or the owner to, have this just hanging out there indefinitely. So,
Right.
I think we can target maybe the first meeting in January.
Which is January 4th.
And look at it that way. And if, I'm also aware that things tend to slow down around the holidays, particularly around civil paperwork. But if we can expedite that request and see that back, we can get this done as soon as we can for everybody involved.
If I may address that, I can put in a simple request to our crime analysis unit, and they'll make it like a spreadsheet and provide all the data, types of calls, and I'm a picture person, so it'll illustrate it very well and show you the types of calls for services and how they were handled and closed out and so forth.
And if we can go back prior to the transfer of title on the business, so we can see if this is something that's escalated over a little bit of the last year, or if this is kind of in keeping with what we've always seen there, and also anything else in the neighborhood would be helpful as well, so we know.
Fair enough.
If this is an isolated one establishment issue, or if it's kind of back to the conversation around, we don't know who the drag racing guys are coming from, or where the people urinating in the street are coming from. Maybe bigger issue.
Mr. Mayfield?
I'll second that motion, but I would like to offer an amendment to include some written verification from the planning agency that it is in fact in the district or not in the district. Now, I know based on what Zach has told us, it's not, but I would like a little more formal communication from them to give us some we need to be clear because it's obvious there's some confusion about this.
Discrepancies.
Yeah, so,
You have a,
Just on what he's saying there, what specifically are you asking for?
All the OpenGov records for what has been, for calls to that location.
Well, to be clear, that stuff isn't stored on OpenGov, is that correct? It would be
Correct. What I can do is, I've got access to the 911 records, and I can have that go back, I believe, all the way 2 years or more, or if I need to, I can get one of the supervisors from 911 to assist me with going back further.
For non-emergency calls.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, it'll be every call that for that specific address. Or if I get the crime analysis unit, they can kind of break it down within the area and also to that specific address.
Now, are you also wanting reports as well? Written reports that may have been,
Yes, any CPD written reports.
Okay.
As a result of this.
Gotcha.
and just for the board to understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sergeant Wood, but when you make that request for OpenGov, it'll be anything tied to that address. So even if there's another emergency and that's the address they given and it has nothing to do with Exile even being open, it'll pull that,
Well,
correct?
Just to clarify.
So that we can clarify the reporting.
Say I live at 123 Wilhoit Street, and I call into CPD and say, hey, the music's loud at this location. I'll be listed in the report as that complainant, and it'll have my address, but it's gonna generate the address for the complaint location. So, yes, some of that you have to actually dive into the report in the narrative and read it. But the crime analysis unit, they're really good at separating that data.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And what do you think a reasonable timetable for that report would be?
Oh, gosh, depending on how busy they are, less than 2 weeks. Probably sooner.
Does it need time to read it and
Yes.
Yes, probably much sooner. They operate pretty quick.
January.
January 4th is probably good.
With the,
Reasonable.
with the magnitude of this problem, I would assume it would get done pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the
The
motion,
motion is that Officer Wood supply those reports, as well as any written reports that are generated off of any calls to that location, and that we get the written clarification from planning on
Good.
whether or not they're included in the amplified music, and then we revisit this on the 4 January meeting.
Yes, Yeah, I'll second that.
so we have a motion from Owen Seaton and a second from Dan Mayfield. Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Seaton? Ms. Brightcliff?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mayfield?
Yes.
Mr. Washington? Mr. Cole? Chair votes yes, so this is passed till January 4th, based on the information provided by the city.
Okay,
Thank you.
so it's not over.
Yeah,
wait, Mr. James? Mr. James,
Yes.
are you available on the 4th?
Check.
I guess we should have asked.
Point of order, are we back in now position to hear their other matter while we're here? The matter that got
Yeah.
passed from earlier?
well, we have another violation, unless we're gonna make a motion to go back up to theirs.
I respect their time since they've been here for
Yeah.
a couple minutes, if we can pop back up for that.
Okay,
I'll make that.
make that motion.
I'm good on board.
You're good on
Oh,
board?
good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
James.
Thank you.
You're good on board.
You're up.
Yeah, great. Thank you. We got a question.
Wait,
We go back to the earlier agenda item for,
for Bless Your Heart.
bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
So we have a motion from Owen Seaton to go back to Bless Your Heart's beer application. Is there a second? And a second from Christy Morris. All in favor? Any opposed? So approved. So now we're going to hear Bless Your Heart, the beer application.
Representing Bless Your Heart LLC, doing business as Bless Your Heart. Frederick Swank, Matthew Patel, Andrew Patel, Jonathan Marshall, Jason Tyler Harris Enterprises LLC, Beth Forehand, and Rain Miller are making an application to engage in the sale of consumer carry-out beer at 233 East Martin Luther King Boulevard. The group has not had a beer permit at this location in the past, but Frederick Swank and Matthew Patel have a beer permit for Exile on Main, doing business as Exile off Main, located at 1634 Rossville Avenue. The location is owned by Harold Lewis Company LLC, care of Laura Finch, and is zone UCX 6.
They have met all requirements. I just confirmed with Mr. Wiley that the building is good to go, so they've met all requirements.
Thank you. Hello, please introduce yourself.
Again, Michael Dolan.
Thank you.
I'm from Nashville. I'm also a minority partner. I'm less than 5%. So there's just two of us that are less than 5. Everyone else is listed of the 7. So,
Thank you.
and the location, as you know, or maybe you don't know, is 233 East Martin Luther King, which is literally, if you had a really good arm, you might be able to hit it, but I doubt it. We've renovated the space. You've met Mr. Schwank, done a lot of really nice improvements in that facility. Revamped the entire pinball area and all the gaming areas, and then the back deck part, and has really made it very, very nice addition to the neighborhood. We're very excited about being able to open and be our third venture in Chattanooga since right before COVID. So we're excited to be here when we hope that you guys are excited to have us, so.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Mr. Seaton?
My primary question is a result of its proximity to campus, and then you mentioned the gaming. Is it 21 and over only in the establishment? And if so, just
Yes.
walk us through okay, so you're going to ID at the door?
Yes.
Okay, so I would just remind you about the Dallas law provision. Anybody who is carding at the door technically is security, so they need to make sure they're compliant with all the Dallas law and
Yes.
properly
Yes.
trained.
Yes.
So just wanted to
Of course.
reiterate that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cole?
Yes, is this a convenience store or club? I see consumer carryout. I'm just trying to
No,
figure.
we're a limited service restaurant.
Limited service restaurant.
So we're basically, in Tennessee, they call it limited service restaurant, but it's a bar. And you have to be restaurant too, so they're muffled definitions of both, but.
Okay.
Do you have a question, Ron?
Yeah.
All right, go
Well,
right
tell
ahead.
us about the sound abatement.
Any
It is
sound
it is
issues in
entirely-
this space?
It's entirely enclosed,
Yeah,
Okay.
except for the back patio, which is adjacent to.
Back patio is adjacent to JJ's
JJ's,
Bohemia,
right.
live music venue. We're not going to have any live music on the back patio. We have one tiny speaker out there that plays very quietly. But the cool thing about this is, that block itself has for a long time. JJ's has been there 17 years. Before Bless Your Heart, there was a place there called the Coin Op for a little while. In that building, in JJ's building, there used to be the Chameleon Club. There's been a bunch of things there. Barley was operating the 3 spaces next to us that they conjoined for 6 years, so it's a little bit more of an active block and kind of not in no man's land with this one. So there is activity, but there won't be any noise issues. Right behind us, there's a building that I've already met the property manager. They're trying to turn it into like a hostel. They do short-term rental in there, I believe, as well, but there's no issues on that front, and there won't be.
Right.
Excuse me, what is JJ?
JJ's Bohemia is a bar and venue, a small venue that's been here for, like you said, 17, 20 years, yeah.
And that's the case I referred to where they had a totally fenced-in back area and no egress, and the fire marshals said, we got a problem.
And we do have.
We have egress there for emergency
I figured you
exits,
would,
yes.
but now-
And fire has signed off on us.
All right, one second, Ms. Morris?
You stated that it's a small bar,
Yes, it's 1,600 square feet total.
so what is the capacity? And do you all have,
It's-
will you all have
Fire
security?
marshal has rated at 100,
Will you all have security working?
At the
Have
door
to.
to check IDs.
yes.
This is definitely, in comparatively speaking to what we've been talking about the last 45 minutes. a very
Apples and
different place.
oranges, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Totally different, yeah. All
Yeah.
Thank you.
They're nothing alike.
right, Mr. Cole?
And what's your hours of operation here?
5 to 2, 7 days a week.
5 PM to?
Yes, sir.
5 p.m. to
Yes, sir.
2 a.m.
Yes, sir.
7 days.
And it's only, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm just giving.
You're fine, go ahead.
And only security is only at the door with a capacity of 100?
Yeah.
Yes,
Fire capacity is 100, security will be at the door,
correct.
checking IDs. You know, if there's any reason to, like, my other bar, No Hard Feelings on Broad Street, that is 1,780 square feet. Same deal, we have person checking IDs, but it's never been the kind of bar that there would need to be an additional outsourced security team. But had there ever been a reason to do that, I would be
We would have done it.
not reactionary. I would get ahead of it, but this will be the same kind of vibe. But if there's ever a reason to up that, you can bet I will, but there won't be.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, so many people per officer. That's what I'm just thinking in my head. All right,
You done?
I am.
Mr. Smith?
Tell us how you're going to train and what your training programs consist of all how many servers you're going to have here?
We have a total of 8 employees. 2 of them do like our preparation, like fresh ingredients for the bar. The rest are bartenders, so we don't have, I mean, I know what you mean by servers, serving alcohol. They're all TABC licensed. They've gone through, everyone that we've hired has at least 5 to 7 years of bartending experience. One person's a little bit newer, but they've got about 3 years. So we've gone over all the protocol, IDs. Obviously, we're checking IDs at the door, but if there's ever any question, you know, if you're the one that hands a drink to a customer, you're the one liable. So any kind of question like that, we're checking twice. Same as we do with Exile. You know, we have a scanner that, you know, I do my best not to leave it up to interpretation, no matter how good your eyes are, or, you know, the knowledge of what IDs are supposed to look like. A scanning device will tell you do all the work for you. But as far as our bartenders that are serving alcohol, they're all properly trained and licensed to the state.
Thank you. So,
All right, any motions or any additional questions?
Make a motion, we approve the application.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Dan Mayfield and a second from Owen Seaton. Ms. Morris? Mr. Seaton?
yes.
Ms. Brightcliff?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Ron?
Mr. Mayfield?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you for doing business in Chattanooga.
Thank you for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you, we
Thank you.
appreciate y'all.
Appreciate ya.
Okay, next, we're gonna move to, let me go back here, to violations, back to violations, and
Representing Acapulco Bar, Maria Thomas. Bar is located at 2925 Rossville Boulevard. Consumer District 8, reference section 555, telephone and reports disorders. All permittees shall report all fights and other public disorders occurring on such premises immediately to the Chattanooga Police Department, whether or not participants in any such disorder have left the premises. And 17, the Beer Board may also, in its discretion, suspend, revoke, or impose a civil penalty for due cause not specified herein. The allowed provision herein stated was violated on 12/1/2023 per CPD number 23128-402. Previous violations appeared before the board on August 17th, reference 2017, reference section 555, telephone and reports disorders, underage customers, and not having a landline. CPD number 1775883, which resulted in a 6-day suspension.
That was in 2017, right?
All right, good morning. So I found out about this disorder in an email from our watch commander. So every night we have a watch commander synopsis sent out, and it basically lists any significant calls for service during that period of time. Well, again, this fight was listed on that watch commander synopsis, so I started to look into it. And during my investigation, I learned that the call was reported from one of the security guards on scene using a cell phone, not the business's landline. Happy to answer any questions you may.
That's the entire gist of the citation, was that it all came from a cell instead of a landline.
Correct. And, you know, in the past, we've had several other establishments up here for that same thing. So, you know, being fair and transparent across the board, that's why we're here.
So, do you know if there is a landline in the citation from 2017 says there was not at that?
So there was a landline present when I was there. So I spoke with Maria and explained to her that, you have to use that landline per the ordinance. So she understands that, and I'll let her answer any questions you may have.
Okay,
It is.
okay, so which report are we looking at right now? Because the second one says they have a landline in the writing, in the narrative of the report.
Yeah, 12/1/23.
Yeah, the one,
No,
yeah.
I was looking at the one on 17.
Oh, okay.
2017 said they did not.
Right.
Oh, got it. Okay, you're saying 2017 didn't have
Did
it.
not, yes.
Right.
Got it, okay.
Okay.
Now, this is a critical question, I'm sorry,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Now, did the 2017 come before the beer board as well?
Yes,
My
it is.
understanding is yes, that was prior to me coming over, but my understanding is yes, that there was a disposition made on that.
We gave them a suspension for 6 days.
Okay, that's nice.
2017.
Okay.
That's a long time.
It was how long? Okay. Maria said it was a 3-day suspension.
3 days.
3 days.
It was 2 3-day suspensions
Oh, it
that
was
ran
2.
concurrent.
Gotcha.
2, 3 days. All right, so.
Officer, just looking at this disorderly report, this is pretty serious.
It is. I mean, we had a DUI arrest from it, so yes, it could have been much worse.
And then several assaults.
Yes.
Are you on 2023 or?
23.
Okay.
Oh, now I okay.
Okay.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
this was from 2017. I thought that was
Correct.
2 together. Now I get it.
Right.
I
Okay.
apologize. I
Okay.
was so confused.
Okay.
I apologize.
Okay. That's it, my officer. Okay.
Any other questions, motions from the board? Anything you
Well, I have a
want to go
question
into?
for the
Okay.
person.
Go ahead and hit your,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
So,
Mr. Mayfield.
yes, Maria, would you step up, please?
Yes.
Now, be sure, if you would, state your name and speak loudly so we can hear you. It's hard to hear.
My name is Maria Tomas.
Okay,
Yes.
very good. What do you have to say about this incident that took place at the bar? Can you give us what your story is?
Okay, I work with security guards now. I have 3 securities working with me Fridays, Saturdays, and 2 on Sundays. On that day, I mean, the customers were like, 2 of them were fighting outside. Well, I was working inside. I work inside of the bar with my sister. So the security guard tried to stop the fight, but he couldn't. I mean, the 2 guys, I don't know what happened, but I cooperate with the police officers. They came to watch the cameras and everything, but my security guard that was outside, he called the police because he couldn't stop the fight. Yes.
Are your
But
secure-
the
are your-
other guys left the scene.
Sure.
Yeah, they left the scene.
Right. Are your security guards licensed security
I
guards?
work with J Hall Security.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
And I already spoke with all of them that they need to get the phone to call. Yes.
So who called the police?
security
His
guard.
name is Sam.
He works with J Hall?
He works with J Hall.
He called directly from his cell phone?
Yes.
Yes, I understand.
Asking for help.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, as the owner, it's your responsibility to make sure that call comes from the landline, whether it be you calling or the security guard, someone needs to call. And this is because of 911 not being able sometimes to trace exactly where a cell phone is, where the landline at the 911 center, it automatically brings up the exact address where that telephone is. And that's important for response.
Yes. I understand that. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right.
All right, Mr. Seaton?
So it looks like the gentleman that was arrested for DUI obviously had been in your bar prior to the fight. I just want to ask about the training that bartenders and servers have about, cutting off people once they've been overserved. So, I mean, clearly if he's inebriated to the point that he spent the night, in the jail for DUI, then he was overserved. So I'd like to hear from you what steps you take to make sure that people are cut off when it's appropriate to avoid these kinds of things in the future.
Like, I would like to know what time he was arrested, like around, yes.
2:07 was the call.
That's correct, yes. It was 2:07 when the call came out.
And look, I understand that he left and got in his vehicle, and we don't know what he may have consumed after he left your bar. What I want to hear is that, that you and your employees understand the
Oh,
need
yes,
to
to understand, like,
cut people off.
over-serving people, yes, we
And
try to give like free waters or free Cokes to them, because
But you said, do you cut people off once they reach?
I told
Yeah.
them no more drinking.
Okay.
We always try to keep customers like, safe when they,
Do you have a TABC permit, or is it beer,
Yes, I
just beer
do.
only?
I do
So,
have
so
a
has
TABC.
everybody been tip certified or gone through the TABC training?
yes.
Okay.
Like my sister and I have that, yes.
Okay.
And we only serve beer, no liquor.
Okay. So everyone that serves has gone through that training?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Morris?
At the time of the altercation, when it took place, did the security officers notify you at that time?
He let me know that he called the police.
So he notified you after he called the police?
Yes, after he did, yeah. And I said, okay, yeah. I mean, his job to, to protect customers and not let them fight or call the police if like a big incidents like that happen.
So at that time, you never went to the landline and picked up the phone to call
No,
the
he
police?
didn't. He was just,
I'm talking about you. Did you, after you was notified that he called the police, did you try to go back to the landline and
No.
call?
Yes.
You done? Next, Mr. Smith?
Yes, how many people, what's the occupancy of your establishment?
I think it's 59, 49. I forgot about it. I mean, I have my certificate of occupancy over there, but I haven't looked at it.
Small.
It's something around 49, 59.
Do you ever get full? You have a full house of lots of nights?
If I had what?
Do you have a whole house full of people in there at night, or do you have is it a
Sometimes.
number that you keep track of?
No.
Do you count
Sometimes.
people as they come in, is what he's asking?
If I count people
As they come in, do you count people as they come in to keep your occupancy?
No, because there's a lot of clubs opening on weekends, so sometimes they come back and forth, back and
Right.
forth. Yes.
But you're watching that you don't go over your occupancy?
Yes, it's kind of, sometimes kind of slow. Yes, there are new businesses opening.
I see what you're
and
saying.
My business
Your
went
business
down.
has gone down because new businesses have opened. Got it.
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, any additional questions or motions from the board? You have a question?
I do. It's for us, though.
Okay.
And I apologize because I'm new.
That's fine.
So I understand that we are taking everything into consideration, but the issue is that they didn't call on a landline.
That is the
And that's the
citation.
law.
That is
That's
part of the
all.
ordinance.
So is that this that I was given this week to read?
I'm not sure what's in your hand. I can't see it from here, but.
It's what you gave me.
Oh, yeah, I gave her a copy of the beer ordinance.
So that is the beer
So
ordinance.
So I can read in here, and I apologize, it may be somewhere else. And I can see where it says that they are required to have a landline, but I can't see anywhere where it says they have to make it the phone call from that landline.
So if you read both sections A and B, because I think that's 5-55, if I'm
I've read the whole thing, and
But
I want to know where I read that part.
It's my understanding it has been historically interpreted that that means you need a landline and you call from that landline because A talks about the requirements of the necessity of having a landline, and then B says you have to report.
True, but it doesn't say anywhere in B how you have to report. It just says that you have to.
Right, but the historical interpretation of the beer board means that, you know, you have to,
Use it.
use the landline in order to report.
So the security guard,
He used a cell phone.
instead
Instead
of
of-
leaving the situation unattended and going indoors.
Well, they don't have to be,
Like in the moment.
what can happen is the security guard can call from his cell phone, and then a second call can happen from inside. It doesn't have to.
And that's
be
what should have
at the
happened.
same
Right.
time. Yes. So the
that's
intent
efficient for
is
the
to make sure
police.
that bar owners aren't pushing their, anything that happens out into the street and acting like it didn't happen, and that they report anything that happens. And so you're not gonna get cited if a fight happens in your bar. That's what happens all the time. You're gonna get cited if you don't report it.
From a landline.
Right.
So, and that is being,
Interpretation.
evidently being
Right.
revisited by the city.
Yeah, it is.
Right. That is being
So,
revised.
sorry not to co-opt your question.
No, but
So that's
are you
what I mean.
finished, Brooke? I didn't want to move on to anyone else until you were finished.
That's answered.
Okay.
So, before we get to a motion, we just have a quick discussion about some remedies here. It looks like they have not had a citation there since 2017.
6
I'm
years.
not hearing from Officer Wood that this is a nuisance property, that there's any problems ongoing. The only citation is for where the, not that they didn't call it in, but from where they called it in. So, I don't know that this rises above a reprimand,
That's
here.
my feeling.
And, you know, I certainly don't feel like a suspension would be warranted here. So, and if anybody wants to have a conversation before a motion about that, I'm open to it. But if not, I'd just make a motion that we issue a letter of reprimand and remind them of the statute to call from the plan.
So we have a motion from Owen Seaton for a letter of reprimand
Second?
with us.
Hold on. In that motion, you're sustaining the allegation,
okay.
correct?
Okay.
So you need to do a motion to
We
sustain.
sustain the allegation, the letter of reprimand is the penalty,
Okay,
and a reminder to call from the landline.
all right.
Second.
We have a motion to sustain from Owen Seaton with a letter of reprimand and a reminder to call from a landline.
Okay.
And a second from Ron Smith.
Yeah.
Ms. Morris? Mr. Seaton?
Yes.
Ms. Barcliffe? Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Mayfield?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mr. Cole? Chair votes yes. It is sustained with a letter of reprimand on your record, and we ask that in the future, you always make sure you call from a landline,
Yes, thank you.
okay?
Yes,
And
I will.
always call the police if you need them.
Yes.
Don't ever hesitate to call the police.
All right.
All right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.
From a landline, but call. Thank you.
Ms. Tomas, hold on a second. We'll get you the order, a copy of the order.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience while you waited through all of this, too. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Okay, so that is all of the violations, correct? And now we're, is there anything that the board wants to talk about in discussion? I just want to ask, and Zachary's gone, but are we confirmed for the 21st to go to?
That's it,
We are? Okay, and where are we going again?
Is it Longhorn?
Longhorn? On Gun Barrel.
The old Big River.
Oh, okay, the old, no, you said on Gun Barrel.
That's Texas Roadhouse.
That's Texas Roadhouse? Okay. I don't even know. Okay, so we're going on the 21st after the meeting to Longhorn on Gun Barrel. At 12:30. Everybody got that?
Got it.
Anything else anybody wants to discuss before we move on to public comments?
Yes, is that?
Yes, sir.
Tab
Yes, sir.
That is-
Is that what?
That tab is in.
I'll pay that with the big fat check I get from the city for sitting here every week, okay? So, the one that I give. Mm-hmm. Y'all, All right. Any public comments? Doesn't look like we have any public comments or public left. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion from Dan Mayfield, second from Ron Smith. All in favor?